to the top. Don't ever stop. Fight to the top. Give it all you got. Pain and glory on the floor. Warriors, we want some more. Heartbeats racing, time to fight. Show them all our endless might. Fight to the top. Don't ever stop. Fight to the top. Give it all you got. Pain and glory on the floor. Warriors, we want some more. Heartbeats racing, time to fight. Show them all our endless might. Fight to the top. Don't ever stop. Fight to the top. Give it all you got. Be the best that you can be. Dreams become reality. Clinch and grapple, push your way. Win the night and seize the day.
All right, guys, here we go for episode 30 of your favorite Muay Thai stream.
All right, we have the one and only Christine Ferea. She is like, yes, that's right. I describe her as the female Mike Tyson. One of the realest people in the game. When I met her a while back, I was just so impressed. I was trying to find a video of us sparring, and you hit me with a couple of shots that put me into fight mode.
I remember.
I was
I
like,
remember
oh,
the eyes
no.
changing. The eyes changed. Whenever I'm sparring a guy, they're like, okay, they're taking it easy on me. They're like, okay, this guy's going too light on me. Boom! And then I see their eyes change. And I'm like,
Dude,
oh, shit.
I was
now,
like,
now I'm
whoa,
fighting.
we're going now. This is this. I don't care, female, male, bro. I gotta handle it. I can't be getting hit like that in my own damn gym. It was such a blast working with you, and I just vividly remember like how real you kept it, essentially, like just in every single way. And I kind of thought of for this particular topic, which is what does it take to be a number one athlete in pretty much any combat sport? And it's not just Muay Thai or boxing or whatever. Like what? If I could even go further and say, what does it take to be a number one athlete in any sport in general, right? Right. I just wanted to kind of pose that question to you, because it's funny when I asked you this, I was like, hey, Christine, I want to do this, podcast with you. And, I remember your response being, I don't know, man. Like, are you sure you want the answer? Because it's kind of toxic. And I'm like,
Right.
That's exactly what I expected you to say, because I know you're not going to mince any words. You're not going to, you're not going to sugarcoat it for anybody. Right. Because it's not for everybody. And so I just wanted to hear your take, so what does it take to be Christine Ferea, the number one bare knuckle, not just boxing, but bare knuckle boxing champion, right? This is a hard person.
Right. Yeah. So it takes a lot of focus, a lot of discipline, and at levels that people can't even imagine. And it comes to like, significant others I'll start with is like, okay, they're like, oh, you're so focused. You love to work out. You're the best in the world. Oh, I want to be with you. And then I'm like, no, you don't. You think this is all like, it looks like fun. It's 99.9% work. You get that 1%, that 0.1% of glory when they raise your hands. And the minute your hand goes down, you're in pain, right? You feel the whole fight. So you get that 1 minute of reprieve from all that hard work, from the diet to the sleeping. It doesn't end. It's a 365 work day or work year. There's no, your sleep is your training. Your resting is your training. Your eating is your training. Drinking water. I have my water here. I carry this around all day. People, if I go to restaurants, I have my water there. Just so I know I'm drinking. It's just habit. Everything's habit. Got to do the same thing every day. It's boring. So when it comes to significant others, I'm like, you don't want to, I'm starving all the time, or I'm trying to keep my body in shape and hardened and not soft. So when I get hit, I don't get dropped. I'm constantly studying violence. I'm constantly focused on aggression, and they say balance, right? They get the family life and all this. It's like, I didn't have kids for a reason. I didn't have kids for a reason. I don't have many friends. I have a few friends that, that understand that I don't call them, and they still come support me at my fights, come to every single fight. But when they need me, I'm most of the time can't be there. So I have very few friends. And when they want to call and go out, or significant other wants to go out and have normal life like a normal person, it's normal. I'm like, no, I'm tired. No, I don't want to get my mindset in a regular person's mindset of, oh, I can eat whatever I want, or I can just chill. Life's just all glory, and spending money on random things and food, and oh, this food is gonna make me comfort me. I can't get in that kind of mindset either. Like, if I'm having a sad day, oh, let me go eat some crap food. No, I gotta suck it up and deal with it. And a lot of people can't do that, and a lot of people don't understand that. And
Right.
so
That
there's
it's
just so
safe
many
to
aspects.
say, I would say it's safe to say that there are many sacrifices that are made on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And there's no concessions, right? There's
No.
no like, oh, I'm gonna get my cheat day, because then you're not number one now, right? You
Right.
gotta do the thing that nobody else is doing.
Right.
And
That's the thing.
nobody else is doing it. Otherwise, there'll be a ton of number ones. A ton of
Yes.
people in contention for your, and they're not willing. And I hear it as a coach, right? Like, I hear it,
Mhm.
and I want to be the greatest. I want to be the best. And I'm in my head, I'm like, you're not obsessed enough. You're not obsessed. You want the girlfriend. You want, the I need time off. I need to rest. I need, so like, when it's time to, like, okay, you know what? It's time to, like, turn on the switch to be like number one. And if I push you there and you push back, I'm going to go, well, they just wanted to be good at it. I don't think they
Right.
wanted to be number one. And,
Or
like,
they don't know the level, that level is what, like, when they say, as a coach, I'm sure it's hard. You're like, okay, I want to be number one. And I'm trying to think from a coach's point of view. If I was a coach, I'm still the student. I'm older, but I'm still, in my mind, I have a student mind, because I don't ever want to think I know it all. You know what I'm saying? But okay, from a coach, if you say you want to be number one, I know what that takes. And I know where I'm about to take you, because it's a whole nother
it's an
mindset.
ugly place.
It's ugly.
It's
It
an
is
ugly place,
ugly, and
bro.
it's dark. It's dark. And that's what it's dark. And just like Mike Tyson, speaking of this, the fight last night, oh my God. I mean, he's 1 and 2 rounds was great.
1 and 2, he got him. But
He went 1 and 2. But anyway, Mike Tyson, you know how he was so crazy, right?
right.
His mindset. He has that crazy bug. That's what I always tell people. I always look at these fighters and I'm like, okay, yeah, you got the crazy bug. You're good. You're gonna be good. How he spoke, like he said that crazy shit. Like, I'm gonna fuck you till you like it, faggot. Like,
Yeah.
he's so passionate, and that's just passion. That's not like, people will be like, oh my God, it's just. But that's how much he loves this shit, and that's how much, like in control he didn't have over himself at that moment. Just the raw pure emotion. And that's where you have to go. Like I'll sit in my room and I'll write poetry and it's dark. And that's when I know I'm good. When I'm in fight mode, that I could dig into that poetic side of me, because this shit is so deep and poetry's deep. So when I'm able to tap into shit like that, I know I'm ready for a fight. You know, when I'm blocked on that, I'm kind of scared for a fight coming up, because I'm like, dude, I'm not deep enough. I don't feel enough, because you got to feel that person in front of you. You got to know the emotions and feel that energy of somebody. And that's another key thing. If you don't have a clear mind, you're not going to feel that person. And
What
you
does
need to
that
feel
take to like have that clear mindset? Like, what do you do to get there? Because a lot of people will kind of lose that space very easily, right?
Yeah, you
What
just
do
gotta
you
lock
do?
yourself away. I lock myself away. I'm
Shoot.
alone. I stay in an Airbnb and I lock myself in a room.
Wow.
And the only thing I do is go to practice back and forth. That's all I do. I don't, it's like Marvin Hagler used to do the same shit. I didn't know that. And I've studied fighters, you know, back in the day fighters, but you just lock yourself in a place, because then you're clear. And I take my social media off. I schedule my posts, you know, and they're like for up until the fight, and I schedule my stuff, and I'll add some stuff, and I'll have somebody add in like current training and stuff like that. And I just you can't get caught up, because all this stuff is distraction. All the news, all that stuff, people's problems. You know, my girl came to me today like, oh, I need to talk to you about some stuff. I was like, hey, I got a podcast in like 3 hours. I'm not into helping you right now. It's fucked up. That's raw truth. And I've already had a wife leave me. I mean, I don't know if this one will make it. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure. I don't know. She's three or 4 years deep. No
Yo, this
disrespect,
is why I
but
love
you know what?
Christine, man. It's the fucking real shit.
Fighting comes first. Fighting comes
Fighting
first,
comes
and I
first.
don't care. And you knew that before you met me, and I was on my way to greatness and to be the best fighter in the world. And I will pay that price. We're all going to pay a price for what we choose in life. There is a price, but I'm willing to pay it. And I already made that. I made that decision with myself. And I said, you know what? I know the consequences of doing that to somebody, because maybe I'm probably going to be alone for the rest of my life. Oh, well, I don't give a shit. I paid the price. I'm a champion. I'm going to die a champion. And that's all I care about. That's all I care about.
I mean, you know, I think a lot of athletes need to hear it in this way. Like the way
real.
you're putting it out is raw.
Yeah.
And I always hear
I'm
the
not gonna sugarcoat that shit.
motivational, you know what I mean? Like you know, you'll be like, do your best and be ferocious and be da. And I'm like, bro, do you really understand what you're like, what you know, I don't think you really want it, because you can say that, but then your behavior is not of obsession. It's not of like every single day, every single night, I eat, sleep, freaking dream, everything is obsession about it. And that's real, like at a world-class level, that's really what it takes to be number one, right? It's every single thing you do.
And you got to start from that, from the amateurs. It's not something that just, oh, once I get there, then I'll get to that level.
Right.
No,
Right.
You do it now. You do it now, because everything, just like technique, it slips away. You have to do that shit every day. Cardio if you don't do cardio, it leaves your body, starts to decline within 2
very
3
quickly.
days.
I just got hit with like a lung disease thing. I just got hit with like a valley fever thing that we get in Arizona, and I immediately felt how crappy my cardio disappeared, and like that, right? And I'm an endurance athlete. Look, I mean, you're a bike. Like I'm an endurance athlete, you know. Like
I bought a bike, by the way. I bought a good bike.
We're supposed to be we were supposed to bike when you were out here. You got to come out. We'll go for a ride. I'll take you out for a ride. But here's the thing, though. We got a couple. Oh shoot, we're gonna get some questions here. So a couple people are asking, when did you start training, and what make you like? There was one. When did you start training, and what made you transition into BK? Because that's gonna go into a little bit of your history. You know, speaking on the amateur side, like even if you didn't have much of an amateur thing, like you were a pro when you had your first fight, even as an amateur. That mindset was like that from the beginning. Explain
I'm from the streets. I'm from the streets. So my not from, we're all from the streets, right? I came from a tough, rough upbringing to where I chose a different life, a rougher life, fighting and kicking in and drinking and doing all that shit. So I started fighting real young. And then I was around a lot of people and gangs and stuff that were intimidating. So I didn't like that feeling of being intimidated and not knowing how to fight. Like I would fight and I never lost a street fight, but I never felt confident in it. I always like, oh shit, I don't know what's going to happen. And I would just go crazy, right? You know how street fighters do. And so when I stopped getting locked up and I was like, okay, I'm looking around on the yard. I'm like, this is not what I was trying to do. Like, there's a bunch of people with no teeth. They're all gross and druggies. I'm like, this is not what I want to do. So when I got out, I went to college, and then I found a fight gym, and I was like, I could whoop all their asses. And it was a Muay Thai gym, right? I was like, they were all little Asian girls, and like, I was like, I'll fuck them up.
Yeah, fuck them up.
Man, I went in there and got my ass handed to me, okay? Handed to me, and I fell in love. Like,
was this in Vegas?
No, this was in Milpitas, California.
Oh, okay.
And Rudy Ott.
I know Rudy.
Yeah,
that's where you
Rudy
went
Ott's
into. We just had a podcast with him not like a month ago.
Yeah, with Rudy Ott. And
love Rudy, man.
Yeah, Rudy's he has that cocky little get down. So I was like, whatever. And but his students, they were in super good shape, beat the shit out of me, and then he would, at the end of sparring, he would sit us all down in front of him and he would speak. And I was just sitting there just smiling, and he's just like, you got your ass whooped today and you're sitting here smiling. He put me in a fight 3 months later.
No shit.
Like after I first walked in those doors. Yeah, and I beat the shit out of that girl. So I never lost. But it's the mindset of me going in. It's like life or death. It's never been a competition to me. It still isn't a competition to me. It's life or death, because when you get in that ring, you never know what could happen. And my mentality from the street never flipped over to I guess athlete. Like, what did Mike Tyson say the other day? He said, "You're a manufactured killer. I'm a real killer." So there is a difference of mindsets and where you come from, and that cozy little life. You can't really have that.
You can't be number one with that.
No, and that's why I put myself out of my house in a room where I don't like, it's not mine and it's uncomfortable and I have to get used to it. And
so you lived. So what does that mean? You put yourself in a room that's not your house. What does that mean?
Well, I go to a place I don't know. I'm not in my cozy little bed and my little, out of camp stuff, because I do go home. And, I like 8 weeks just by myself, 8 weeks of just.
That was one of the questions I got here. I think it was like Carly Joe was like, how do you deal with the loneliness and not being able to relate to others around you?
I like it now. It's all I know. I think I have like, it kind of, like I said, this is toxic shit. It's almost like it's almost like a social anxiety now, because it's like, I don't relate too much. I don't relate to what you're fucking doing in your day. And I know I don't want to hear about it. And no, I don't give a fuck. Like, I just like I told my girl, like, if you're not talking to me about fighting or something that involves fighting, I don't care right now. You have 5 more weeks of this shit. Deal with it. I don't know. It does get kind of weird, the feeling of it, but I know it's temporary. Like this fight thing is temporary. I don't get it forever, so, and I understand that even though I'm older and I'm doing this older, this is my time. This is my time to shine. This is my time as a champion, and I'm not going to let it go because of age or because of what I might lose. So the social part of it, I'll deal with that later. I'll learn about it later.
That's a fair point. You could deal with it later. Like, I would say even like this kind of attitude in anything, I would say even in business,
everything. This is everything. Anything inside that ring and inside that gym will make you a better person in anything you do. In everything you do, you will be the top. You will be the hardest worker in your business. Because if you can go to a Muay Thai class and you can push through that, everything's gonna be easy. That's why I tell like people doing regular jobs are like, oh, I'm tired of this. I'm like, fuck, if I would having your job is cakewalk compared to what we're doing over here. And that's like a vacation to me. I'm like chill, do regular work, just get on the phone and just have to go somewhere and sit. Like, come on, not get
It's
punched in the
funny.
face.
I mean, I recently had a conversation about. They were like, this job, my job. I actually had a couple people, and they were like, this job is really hard, and I don't know if you'll be able to do it by yourself. I was like, actually, this is the easiest job on the planet. This is the easiest job, training fighters, and I did all of it by myself at the same time. I was in the office. I would run the gym. I would train the fighters. I would teach at 6 a.m. I'll teach at 10 a.m. I'll teach at 11 a.m. I'll teach at 5:30, and I was done at 10 p.m. and I was sleep in the gym. And that's what it took to be an elite gym. I was
Right.
21 years old, right? Like, and all I did, I probably got divorced because of it, because it's all I could think about. It's all I could think about because I wasn't number one yet. I wasn't an elite gym yet.
Right.
And so it was like an obsession to be at that point,
The 1%, baby. The 1%.
I mean, but that's what it took, right? That's what it took.
Absolutely.
Now I can sit back. I'm like, you know what? I achieved that. I wanted to be that. And I
And you
feel like I'm
sacrificed.
still an elite gym. Like my guys, we have, a ton but now I can sit on it, but that starting it was an obsession. I literally worked 7 days a week. I had almost no time for anybody else. I didn't have a life. And, I mean, I paid the piper early, right? Just like you're doing it now. And then later, like you said, now I could find out about it later. And the business is established. Your career is established. You could, sit on that career and make a good fucking living, right? Without having to fight anymore because your name is established. And you can learn about it later.
I always tell people I got a few doctorates in my field.
I got a question for you, Christine. So there's a common theme, like people who are successful, and that involves really like laser focusing on what you need to do to follow your dream. But when you do that, it's going to push some people away because your dream is not their dream, right? And so your path is not their path, and you got to do what you need to do. But how important is it that you take some time to develop relationships, to have a support team? Because, in your opinion, do you think that you can do that alone, or do you really have to spend some time forming relationships, getting a support team? Can it be done flying solo?
Absolutely, because the girl I have now, she was originally my manager, and then now she's the matchmaker for BKFC. So she's in the business. So that kind of worked out in there. So she is in the business. We both network on both ends, so it comes together. But prior to, I didn't have that, and it's very difficult. I mean, it's difficult now because it's still on the business side. She's on the business side. I'm on the fighter side and the business side because you got the sponsors and you're doing so many things to put your name to brand yourself, to market yourself, and to associate yourself. But I'm associating myself with other 1%ers, and those people understand the lifestyle.
You that relate to your lifestyle.
Yeah, and so my network group are all 1%ers, business owners. So everybody knows what it is. You can't be around many people that aren't doing that. Business owners, entrepreneurs, that's kind of what I associate myself with, and what I learned that I have to associate myself with in order to have a social group that understands me and supports me. So
yeah. So like, it sounds like everybody has to decide to cut people off for your, because you got to be able to make that tough decision to say, I could love you from a distance, but we're going two different places.
Yeah. Or it's not even a cutting off. It's just, you guys just go different ways. It's not like, okay, I'm cutting you off, homie. or being rude or being disrespectful. It's just different ways, man. You know, and
Or the toxicity, you definitely have to cut that out, though.
yeah,
Toxic people.
yeah, people that drain you, people that feel sorry for themselves, pity parties, and look, you know, all that shit is so irritating to me. Like, I feel sorry for your situation. We all got problems. We all have family that's dying. We all have family that has diseases. We might have diseases, cancer, all this shit. But there's no, we can't sit there and dwell in it and go fucking drink over it, do drugs over it, or self-destruct over it. You know, I'm not perfect. I screw up, you know, but I pick myself right back up like quick. Like, we all get caught up in those feelings of, oh, poor me, this, that. But you got to learn to overcome that and just, you know what, life happens. Life is shit a lot of the time, and the people that elevate are the people that know how to press on no matter what is going on in their life or what is presented. Mom dies, dad dies, partner dies, child dies. You know, there's just so much shit that hits us in life out of nowhere, and you know, just that if I will have compassion and empathy. And that's another thing that I struggle with, that a lot of people think I don't give a fuck about anything, and it's like I just can't dwell on it. I take it in, I think about it, and I fucking keep it moving.
That's very
Because
zen of you, Christine.
Now,
it's very
where
well.
does therapy fit in? I know this is a conversation that
Therapy.
a lot of elite fighters talk about, and you know, you talk about Mike Tyson, like you can kind of hear some of those really deep emotional things come out every time he speaks. Is there
Right.
a place for therapy, you know, for people who are trying to be, and no matter what sport you're in, trying to be number one? How important do you think therapy is? And do
Therapy. I
you,
do.
looking back, you think you could have done some things different as far as some therapy?
I do a lot of like I do like I guess sports psychology. They're like, you need to go see a psychiatrist. I was like, okay, sports. I'll go to a sports therapist.
Sounds
So
better
everything,
for sure.
yeah, no, but it is. Everything. It is not like therapy about my feelings. It's like they taught me how to deal with, like, how to focus on the goal and how to
Even
just
your
kill.
therapy is about fighting, not
Yes,
about your self-worth, or not self-worth, but your internal feeling. But it's more about, how do I
it's more
sharpen
about
this
moving on.
feeling into fighting, right? And
Right,
it's being successful.
and yeah, you gotta like turn. It's like turning negative into a positive. So look, like my wife left me like 4 or 5 months before I got my first world title. She's like, "This, I'm done with this shit. You know, all my money went to it, all this shit." And I'm like, "Fuck, okay." She left me for another person that's partying, doing all this shit and having fun and doing all the things she wants, right? Getting drunk, fucking, doing all that, right? And I'm sad. And then I get a call. They're like, "Okay, the world title shot February 19th, right?" That's on her fucking birthday.
Oh
So
shit.
I mean, just like it's just like weird shit like that. You know, it's just, life is so crazy, and like you'll lose stuff, but if you keep working hard and you keep going after the goal, something replaces it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the therapy aspect of it is like what I've learned through my sports psychologist is just hyper focus and visualization of what you want. You know, I visualize what I want and where I want my life to be, where I
Sounds
want
a
my
lot
fight
like
to be.
McGregor when in his prime too. He would talk about a lot about
I study
visualization.
him too. Yeah.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
that crazy bug, and you know it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
He got
man,
it.
he had that crazy bug, and
Uh-huh.
he went to the top quickly,
Yes.
right?
There
It's
can be
a,
a flip side. There can be a flip side to this also. There's
Yeah.
something called, you know, some people coin the paradox of winning. And to sum it up, it's like you want to win so bad that it actually hurts your chances of winning
Yeah.
because there's a fear of failure, right? And
Yes.
sometimes if that
That's
fear of
true.
failure exceeds your will to win, that's going to prevent you from concentrating on what's necessary, right?
You're
It'll
absolutely correct.
sabotages performance, right? So, like, is there a real power in letting go, right? And letting go
Yes.
of so it's not to the point where it sabotages. And how does somebody who's trying to be the best protect themselves from this?
Yeah, and there's another thing. So being a world champion, right? And that's a great point, and something that I've dealt with. Being a world champion, okay, I got the belt. Everybody wants to be around me. The people want me to be around. They want me to go do a bunch of shit. I'm getting a bunch of stuff, sponsors, all this, right? And I don't want to lose that, right? I've come up from the bottom, sleeping in gyms, homeless, all the sacrifice. And now I'm like, okay, I got this belt. I don't want to lose it. And then you get too careful, right? Then you're too careful in the fight, or you're not free. You don't let your mind be free. You're too trapped in, now I got to protect this. And then you're fighting defensively and cautiously, and then not the crazy, exciting fighter that you should be, right? So I dealt with that. And I actually came to the point where I don't give a fuck anymore. I win or lose. The point is, you got to remember why you started and who the fuck you are. I'm a fucking maniac in that ring, and I don't give a shit what happens. I have nothing to lose. In my mind, I keep myself there. I have nothing to lose. There's nothing to fucking lose. Because if I have a shitty fight, that's like losing to me. If I'm being too
Even
protected,
if you won.
and I'm not, huh?
Even if you won the fight.
Even if I won, I feel like I'm sitting on an L, because I'm here to entertain. My whole point as a fighter is to entertain, just like Gladiator. Win the crowd and you win your freedom. Straight up. And that's what it is. So you always have to remember that. You have to remember, it's not, when you're putting yourself in there, you're sacrificing yourself.
That's
and
true.
that is the job. That's the fucking job. And if you don't want to do the fucking job, then
the most
get out.
vulnerable position you can be in as a human is in a boxing ring in front of thousands of people, millions of people watching you at a most vulnerable state. And very few understand that feeling and the amount of courage it takes and the amount of discipline it takes to just step in there just one time.
Yeah.
99% of people in this world will never know what that feels like.
Right. And to go back to, I want to go back to what he said. The thing, do you know what's so great about Mayweather, right? Is he made so much money. He made, and people can say whatever the fuck they want. Oh, he picked his fights and all. He was still fighting very elite fighters. Okay. He went to the very end, undefeated, fighting people as rich as he was. He didn't need the money. So look at, I mean, there's certain
even
fighters
fought exhibitions not needing the money.
Right.
Jake Paul.
But it's about the psychology behind it, about not getting to the point where you're just you're the wanting to win so bad that you lose, you pretty much lose. The flip side, it's very important to remember why you started and who you are. And that's why I spend a lot of time by myself, because you can get lost in that. You can get lost in people, oh, you're doing good. Even coaches, like, they would get so comfortable with me. They're like, oh, she's a beast, she'll beat her. I'm like, did you even study my fucking opponent? Like, what the fuck? Like, I could, first of all, it's a bare knuckle fight, and any punch could take you out, cut you.
One punch.
Anything. So you don't have to be the better fighter here in bare knuckle. You don't have to be the better fighter. You can get caught. So you can't let the people, like, oh, you're the best in the world, no one's gonna beat you. You can't buy into that kind of shit. You have to remember, stay very humble within yourself. You don't have to be a bitch, but stay very humble in your heart and in your soul, and know that everybody's fucking dangerous, and know that you need that fear. You need that fear of, how, like, Mike, I study a lot of Mike Tyson. He would just be like, he's super scared, and that's like my last fight, I had zero nerves. I was like, usually when I go weigh in, like, I'm like, my adrenaline's going so much, I'm like shaky. I'm shaky, right? And I don't ever you'll never see me with my hands up in front of a opponent, because my hands shake, because my adrenaline. And that's why I always have my hands down, because I don't want them to think, oh, I'm scared, right? So, um, so, but this last fight, like I was in the back waiting to come out, and it was just like whatever. At the weigh-ins and then at the fights, I just didn't feel nothing. I had no fear. I was like, oh, this is great. I must be getting used to fighting. But I was flat in that fight. Like it was a flat fight, and but I tapped in to this one anyway. But that's a whole other subject. So,
But that's,
it's
I
just
mean,
like
the fear is important, right? Because it wakes
very
everything up.
yes, and that makes your senses. You'll see things. You'll move faster.
You're
You'll
more
react
hyped.
faster. Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree. And usually it's what I tell my athletes because they're,
it's
I had
normal.
some athletes that will literally throw up before fights from the fear,
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
adrenaline. And then they would cry after from the adrenaline dump. Literally,
yeah.
I don't know why I'm crying. Like it's all good. Like that's just the adrenaline dump. Like you'll be all
Yeah,
right. Just give
right,
yourself a minute. Like you don't
right,
have control over this anymore. Like it's just hormones at this point. And
right.
so, like, I mean, and a lot of people, what they don't understand is this is the most primal activity that you could do. This has the fight or flight has existed on a primal level, on a molecular level. Our
Right.
bodies have a reaction to putting yourself in danger or being
Yeah.
in danger. And then
And your
having to
mind doesn't know it's a
control
competition. Your mind doesn't know a competition. Like
doesn't
when
know
you're
a
in
competition,
sparring,
it's a
it
fight.
doesn't. Yeah, yeah. Your instincts don't know. Oh, this is a competition, or even when sparring, when you're training, hitting the bag, your body doesn't know that you're not fucking fighting for your life.
Right.
It doesn't know that shit. It doesn't know the difference.
That's, I mean, that's and I tell him, I was like, you actually need that fear, and like,
Yeah,
don't be nervous, don't be like freaked out because you're so scared. I'm
right,
actually kind of, I get as a coach put at ease if you have nerves, because I'm like, okay, this person's taking it seriously. They understand what they're getting themselves
right,
into. It's a
right.
fight. They're not just walking in thinking this is some dumb, some dumb shit. This is a fight. Like
Yeah,
you're gonna get hurt
yeah,
if you fuck around. And even if you don't fuck
right,
around, you're still gonna get hurt.
right,
It's a fight. And
yeah,
so I think that fear taps into like a primal place. Uh that's very important for
very.
athletes to tap into. And it
Yep,
is, I just like, I've never been in a ring and not been scared to death. And then
right.
everything I've ever done after fighting has felt like a joke. I have done
Yeah,
Ironmans.
yeah.
I have done jumped off planes. I have, I've raced on motorcycles many times. I've eaten shit. I've broken my bones racing on a track going 108 miles an hour, dropping my ass on it. Like I've been, and it's all, I laugh at it because it's funny. It's like, and every
Mhm.
time I go into it, my first thought is, at least it's not fighting. I could
Right,
do this if I fought. I could do this. This isn't that
right,
hard. I can
right.
do a full Ironman because it's not fighting.
Yep,
If it's fighting, I'm scared to death, man. My last
right.
fight was 32 years old. I was fucking shit in my pants.
Yep. Yeah,
No, and
and it's
so
it's very normal. Very normal. And I
So I
didn't
want
know
to
that.
jump
I
in.
didn't know
I want
that.
to jump in
Yeah.
with something real quick, guys, because we're talking about there's this vein and just back to being that number one, person. And so I've trained a lot of salespeople, trained a lot of staff. When you're getting to the top of whatever it is that you're doing, all the other humans around you, it seems like they have this natural inkling to try to pull you back to where they're
Oh
at.
yeah.
And there's this, like we call it the king of the mountain, right? So you have the king of the mountain and everybody's just trying to pull you down all the time. So when you're talking about being alone almost in your own training camp, but solo, right? Just by
Yeah.
yourself. And my grandpa would call that hermit mode, going
It's
Oh
the
into
yeah,
wilderness.
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
shell and
exactly what
not
that is.
doing that. So I was going to ask you because, when just going back on that, when I would talk to people that I was trying to really help come up and I'm trying to coach them, in business or anything else, and they would hear from their support group who's supposed to be supporting them, you should, maybe this isn't for you. And, oh, you need to go get a real job, because maybe working this job isn't the right thing for you. And their support group who's supposed to be helping them is literally trying to tear them down. So during your journey, is there a time where you actually had people or you were questioning continuing on, or like, and how did you
A
like
million
work through
times.
that?
A million times have I questioned it. A million times. So my ex-wife and her family, like her sister used to say, "Oh, it's just an expensive hobby." So I mean, the disrespect. I mean, it made me feel like a piece of shit constantly. You know, and of course I had guilt for it because I didn't want the family to think that of me, right? I wanted them to like me. I wanted them to accept me and um, know that I loved their daughter and I wanted the best for her. It's just what in, yeah. So they would constantly tell me that, you're getting old, you're too old for this. You haven't got anything. You're not going to go anywhere with it. You're not blah, 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 blah. Um, my mom is, isn't it time, she doesn't want to see her daughter fighting. No parent really probably does. A lot of parents don't. Maybe so I just ignored the fuck out of them, and I moved away from all my family and everything I knew. I moved from California to Vegas about 15 years ago, and I was, or yeah, about 18, maybe 18 years ago. I don't know, a long time ago, and just came here with nothing, with nobody, nothing here, and just kind of was myself. I had to break off from everything I knew and had to do it alone. Pretty much, I did it alone. Um, Worked my jobs and did what I did, and I've been alone for a long. It's a lonely place. It's a lonely life because naturally people think they're helping you and guiding you, and the world tells you it's supposed to be a certain way and you're supposed to live a certain, you're supposed to be married by this, you're supposed to be making this much money, you're supposed to be doing this, especially back then. Now it's a little bit more open-minded, but I just ignored it. I just anybody that wasn't on that path or didn't agree with it, I just kind of ignored them. And I, I used a lot of like my fuel is hate. And I know that's again toxic. It's just like, fuck you for not believing me. Fuck you. Like I would have sponsors. I went to a fight. I lost this one fight in MMA, and sponsor left me that night. He's just like, oh, gotta go. And those are times where like people are not there forever, and people are who they are and what they believe. So we just have to be our individual self and just go with what is in our soul and heart. Sometimes it hurts so bad, like, breaking off and getting used to that in the beginning, and it still hurts. It never goes away. The pain doesn't go away when you let go people that you care about, or, you're making scary decisions and what if I fail? What if I do this and they were right? Who gives a fuck? At least you tried. You're not going to be like, it's a cliche. You look back and people would say, don't look back and regret. And it's so true. Don't regret, because when you get older and you can't fight or you can't go back to that business decision that you wanted to go through, you never know what you could have done. And you don't want to live like that. You don't want to live like that. And real ones are going to be there. And that's how I feel about a significant other or even family. It's just like, if you love me, you're going to be here. And if it's true love from my family, from a significant other, from my friends, if you're a real true friend, is there any true friends out there? Is there true love? Because who's going to go through that? I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never seen true love because nobody stayed with me the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe my parents, that's true love. I'm talking about, like, okay, if it's not blood, I've never had anybody stay with me till the end, from the beginning to the end. Everybody fell off.
Yeah, that staying power, man, that's such a big thing. We call that in my family staying power. My dad always talks about it, like some people will come in your life and they're just there forever.
Yeah.
And there's not really a whole lot you got to do about it, like you just have these good partnerships. So now that you're at the top of, the game, like, and you're at the king of the mountain on certain perspective here, what are you do you have another goal like in mind from this point? Like, what are you working on? What are your thoughts about the next thing?
you know, I don't, I think of things sometimes, but I start like I have what when my manager's like, well, you got to think about what you're gonna do after and shit, and I'm just like, okay, I start to do that, and then I'm like, then I start to get off track, you know. And so I've tried to do that several times, and I do have a couple things in mind. Coaching, I don't know where I'm gonna be at with coaching. I'm a hard motherfucker. I don't know if I could keep people in my gym because you gotta bend. You gotta bend. Like I feel sorry for these coaches because like you deal with
Oh
some
my
shit.
God.
Keep the
Like, oh
membership.
hey motherfucker,
Oh
like you're not coming
man.
to practice, don't come back, bitch. That's the kind of person I am. Like, no, you're not gonna fucking run. You showed up to this fight and you have no cardio, motherfucker. Did you lie to me?
I'm glad it's
Like,
not only me
Yeah,
that
no, I was gonna vouch for
experienced
Tiago
that.
right now, and how many times I've heard him say, there's two fucking doors in the gym. One's in the
I
back.
always
And if you
said
need
there's
to
two
get out,
exits.
there
You can
it is.
take either one. Get the fuck out of here. I would say
so
it
yeah,
on a regular
I don't know
basis.
if I can do that. I'm too hard, dude. I'm militant. I'm militant, and so
I love it.
it's like I don't know. So I'm like, yeah, of course I want to watch like students grow and I want to watch students succeed and I love helping, motivating, like I love inspiring, but my way is not everyone's way and it's probably abusive. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
That's
not going to
funny.
fucking bend that. And I'm not going to bend that and I'm going to have to. But I mean, and I can't do that at this point because I'm not going to put my mind around some weak motherfucker, mind because that shit's contagious.
Yeah.
That
That is.
shit is contagious. So I have a lot of options and I've networked a lot of people with a lot of people and I have a lot of connections. So I know I'm going to be fine. I just have faith in my hard work and dedication and what I've built. So I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. I have some things in mind. Um, we'll see what works out in terms of motivational speaking. I don't know if I want to work with other. I did want to work with the youth. Like I want to go to like the jails and the prisons and
That's kind of what's funny? I just thought that right before you said it. I was
Yeah.
like juvie kids will
yeah,
relate to your story,
Yeah.
yeah.
and you could
And
probably
I
change
know no one
a
cares
lot of
about it.
heads.
Yeah, a lot of people don't give a fuck. And I know when I was that young, no one understood me because I'm different, right? I'm different.
Right.
I'm a tomboy. I like to fight. I hung around with all guys. I was rough, and nobody could like relate to that. Like, how the fuck do I talk to this little girl? I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. What? Drinking a 40, smoking some weed. Like, what are you gonna say to me? Like that I would like. They didn't know how to handle me. Like I had a teacher tell me like we've never seen a kind like you. Told my mom that, and I was just like, fuck you, okay. Like you hear that shit as a kid, it's like fuck you, okay. Now I'm just gonna go fuck the world up, you know. So I think that I would be valuable to some people's lives, to some youngsters' lives. I'm not gonna save everybody, but I can put a seed in their mind that might grow, and that would fulfill me,
That's awesome.
later on. And
So see, as we're talking, I was thinking about the question you asked Brandon, and like, is there room for mentally for developing an identity or a purpose outside of the ring, right? Outside of your craft, whatever it is. And it seems to me that there really is not a whole lot of room for it. When you really want to be at the elite level, you have to really focus on what you're doing and kind of worry about it later. But I think Christine, like whatever it's gonna be, you're gonna know because you're gonna approach it with the same fire that you've always approached fighting, and you're just gonna know, and you're gonna have the same kind of work ethic and the same hunger for it. And whatever that thing's gonna be, it's gonna be proven to be a success because you're a hard worker, and the proof is in the pudding. But I got a question for you. If you had a chance to send a message to your younger self, right, the little girl, what would it be?
just be yourself because it doesn't matter in the end what anybody fucking does or says about you. That's the thing, is you just got to be yourself no matter how awkward or weird you might think you are, or what your belief is, or how grandiose you want to be, or you think that a goal is, or they're not gonna believe in you, or it doesn't matter if people don't believe in you. I would tell myself, just fucking be you, just be you to the core, no matter what, and unapologetically.
I mean, that's a great message. But did
Yeah.
you struggle with what, that like, is that something that was a struggle early
Look
on
at
in
me,
your life?
bro. Like, I am not a normal looking female. I walk different. I talk different. Yeah. Especially back then. Like now, it's more like a little bit more accepting to be, different. Have tattoos, like a girl, or you know, be a fighter, or I have aggressive personality. We're very physical. Um, so I wasn't like out there like doing the girl thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And so it's just a weird place. So it was just like you question yourself. You're like, okay, I gotta be like this, or so when I was younger, I would go, I okay, let me try and have a boyfriend, but I wasn't my thing, and I was a teenager, and then then I moved, and then I was all by myself, and I just became me and didn't give a fuck. I wouldn't even hold my girlfriend's hand in public till later, like 20s, because I'm like,
Damn.
no, don't do that, because it's just, I don't want, if someone looks at me, I'm just like, what the fuck are you looking at? And then it's gonna be a fight, so um it,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wasn't myself because I didn't. First of all, there's a consequence to it. Second of all, like especially when you're younger, you want to be accepted, right? Especially when you're younger, it's like so important to be cool and the popular one and all that. I wasn't that. I was a little fucked up, like the little misfit. That's why I like my name, Misfit, is because I'm a misfit. I'm just a misfit, and it being struggling with the acceptance of trying to, then I went to college. I was like, okay, let me go do this college thing. That's what you're supposed to do. And then that's when Rudy Ott told me, he's just like, well, look, because I didn't have a car at the time. He's like, dude, you're missing practice. I'm like, well, I have a full-time job and I'm doing night school, college, and I'm trying to go to practice. So I'm trying to do all these three things on a fucking bus in the Bay Area. And it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours on a bus ride to get to work. So I'm getting up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to get on the bus at 4:30 or 5 to be there by 6 or 7 or 8, whatever time I was going. And then getting the bus to practice or to school. I think I had to have school, I don't remember, a long time ago. But he gave me that up. He's like, you got to pick. And I fucking gave him college. I still have that fucking bill. I'll pay it off eventually. I'm getting to the point where I'm able to pay off all my fucking debt from all the years of mistakes and debt that accumulates in this life, because it costs a lot of money. My camps are at least 15, 20K. That's a low. That's low. That's a lot for me, because like Jake Paul probably just had a $2 million, $5 million camp. I think I heard, or some shit. Like
Jesus Christ.
there is so much that goes into this. Like I have the best strength and conditioning, Project Wellbeing, in they do all the strength and conditioning for Masvidal, Anthony Pettis, Cody Garbrandt. So I saw those guys, and I was like, oh well, they're the elite. So let me go see what this guy's doing. Sean over there, fucking guy's a whiz. So all my weaknesses, anyway, he's capitalized. It's like specialized for my body, and it's one-on-one. So I put all my money into that shit. And that's expensive as hell. He has a recovery. I do a cold plunge right after. Sauna, cold plunge, mineral bath, laser, the red light therapy, and then the hyperbaric for an hour. So my recovery is 2.5 hours after practice.
Wow.
So just the debt and everything that just the money that I put into this, it's just next level. Who's doing that shit? No, they have a family. They got to take care of their kids. They got to do this. They got to put money over here. No, I didn't have fucking kids on purpose. I'm selfish. I know what it takes, and I don't have enough time to raise a child and give that child everything it needs. You got a child
that you thought of, like, as far as like, maybe after, you hang it up as far as a career is concerned?
Um, I I will coach kids, but my girl came with kids. She has 3 kids and stuff like that, and so I mean, kind of like I'm around kids now, but I can't give in
I
the,
could see you as a
like
school principal.
I
The
hated
kids,
those motherfuckers.
God help them if they cut. You'll come after them and
Yo,
beat their
can
ass.
you imagine her as a school principal, bro?
There'll be
That's gonna be
no
a line.
disciplinary problems. Zero.
Nobody, yo, physical
Bro, they would
corporal
be doing
punishment back.
burpees. They would be doing wall sits. They would be doing. They would be like, nah, I ain't acting up because I'm
Hey,
gonna have to go do some
guess
shit.
what, Christine? I
Uh,
found our sparring video.
oh,
I found it.
I want to
I'm
say
gonna go
too,
with
though,
this.
real quick, that as
We're
selfish as she
share
keeps
it real
saying,
quick. We're gonna watch this because this is pretty funny.
as selfish as she keeps saying she is, the common
Oh.
thread I'm hearing is she's changed a lot about herself to not affect other people as well. So for anybody watching, that definitely, there's a lot of thought from holding hands in public to not have to beat people up to, you've definitely been putting people at the front of mind. That's awesome.
Who's
All right,
who's
you
a
ready?
hero?
You ready to watch this? Ready to
Are you
watch
ready? You
this?
queued up already?
I have it
I love
queued
it.
up.
All right, go
Yeah,
ahead.
share it and I'll put it.
It's quite funny because you can see the point where it turns from friendly to you. You can kind of see it. Now I sent it to B. Got it?
Oh,
Yep.
shit.
And I was trying to mimic your opponent that you had. You were telling me that there was a lot of overhand right, if I wasn't
Yeah.
mistaken, and that we were slipping that overhand right. And I was just
Yeah,
kind
she
of like,
pussied out.
okay, like there was a shot that you hit me with. I was like, nah, fuck this shit.
I'm like, let's go.
It was pretty fun. I think this was the moment right here. So I was like, nah, we're going. And you stood right in front of me like it wasn't shit, and it was
Well, I
quite
had to.
fun actually.
Yeah, because you know what? When I hit a guy and I crack him, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna run like a little bitch now. Oh, there it goes. There you start fucking me
Yeah, that was like, it was a blast, man. I actually had so much fun sparring with you. I
That
look
was a
forward
lot
to
of
the
fun.
next time.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's gonna be a little bit different though, because I'm a lot older and slower.
Well,
But
I'm different too.
I don't
I'm
give a
different.
shit either.
I got more boxer in me. I've been into boxing gyms and they changed me a lot over there.
Yeah, I could see your skill sets have definitely upgraded. And is there a
Yeah.
coach that you would say has influenced you? Which coach has influenced
Oh
you as far as the
man.
most?
Well, Renzo. Well, I have 2 that really. I mean, I've had a lot of coaches. Like I do a lot of they call it gym jumping, but I like my arsenal to be large, and I like different perspective and mentalities. So
Sure.
Renzo Asparia, he'll be at the tournament next week as well. Hard Knocks Muay Thai. He was a huge staple in my mentality and the hard work. And Dewey Cooper.
Dewey's the best, huh?
Dewey, man, he changed my whole brain. He elevated me from here to the 1%. Like that man's focus and just the way he is, he really took me on a different. Like he taught me how to fight, and what he told me something very key. He said, like, because when I would get hit, I would get mad. He's like, that ain't their fault. It's your fault. That's your fault. You got hit. You know what I'm saying? They're doing their job. So that kind of cleared me. It made me clear because when you're in a frenzy and you're just mad, you don't see clear. You don't see clear. You don't see shit that's coming. You get erratic, and it's the same thing in life. You know, they say when you get angry, walk away from the argument because you're gonna say and do shit that is not that's gonna hurt you. It's the same shit in the ring. You know what I mean? You got to go in there with like fury and passion, but once you get angry, that's when you're gonna lose. You know that, and you lose your energy. Like it's a waste of energy. So that's something that's key that he taught me. That will always stay in the forefront. And just the hard work and grit and like not not pitying myself in the gym is Renzo Sparta, and that has been key because when you get hit in the gym, it's just like, oh, you get like, okay, you want to back up, but no, he taught me, when you're in training, just keep going. You don't think about it. You just fucking work. Just keep working, keep working, keep working. So that's been key to my success, especially in bare knuckle because everything hurts. Right?
Yeah, no kidding.
I
had
hit you. It
just
hurts.
a,
You
a
hit me.
jab must feel like a freaking like
Jab
a
is
hammer.
amazing, dude. The jab is the best because it's so fast. It's
Right.
This is slower. This is slower because you're always throwing it with power.
Right.
This is just pop, 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 pop,
And it keeps
that's
hitting, and it hurts. It's not like a gloved up
it
jab.
cuts. It
Yeah.
cuts.
Here's a question we got, and this is from your OG #1 fan, Steve Lane.
Oh boy. I
Yeah,
love
that's your boy. He says hi. He wanted to know what was a gym that you haven't worked with that you want to work with, or a coach.
I don't have like a specific, like I keep my mind open, you know. I keep my mind open to things, and like I go with my gut, like I go with my feelings. That's all I always do. Like when I went to Albuquerque, it was an amazing gym, and they brought out the dog in me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Mexican style, down to earth, just fighters, hard workers, running up sand hills. It's in New Mexico, so what is it, 5,500 feet or 5,000 feet elevation? So I was dying. It was just a torture. Like if you're in camp and you're not hating your life every day, you're doing something wrong.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Yep.
My guys,
Oh, yeah.
I just finished fight camp for the U.S. Open that's happening next weekend, and I always ask them when they come in, "How you doing? How you doing?" And they're always like, "Yeah, we're good. I'm good, coach." And this week, every single one of them, they don't want to tell me that they're not doing good, but they don't tell
Yeah.
me that they are. They just nod.
Right.
They just go,
Yeah. Right.
Mhm.
Then you know
And then that's
it's
it.
good.
That's all I
It's
need
good.
to see. I know that I
Right.
did my job because
Right.
their life is hell for
Right.
that, especially the last week of camp, that last week, that last little bit of
Oh, yeah.
effort where you have almost nothing left. And
Yep.
then we're telling you, one of my students is saying that right now. That's so refreshing to hear because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. I just put him through hell for the last
yeah.
month because I want and I expect, and I don't talk to them about doing their best. I expect every single one of you to come home with a belt. And that's
Right.
the only expectation I have. All of you better
Absolutely.
win, or else I wouldn't have put you in this damn thing. And
Right.
so, like in their head, and I know that might sound toxic, like you said, right? That might sound
Right.
toxic. Like, oh,
To
maybe
the
do your
to
best,
the
and I'm
pussies.
gonna love
Yeah.
you no matter what. Nah, bro, you have to
No.
win this shit. I expect
Yep.
#1 gym status in this freaking thing.
Yep.
Because that's where everybody's gunning for. And
Yep.
your opponent.
The thing is, if you don't want to be around that, and you're like, oh well, you got to let up, then go somewhere else.
Go somewhere.
Because
Oh, man.
there are gyms that are
Two
going to say,
exits.
oh,
Two
you
exits.
did your best. Yeah, you did do your best. No, fuck that. And when I'm expected to win by my coach, and they're like, okay, if you don't win, it's okay. That gives you
That's
a
weakness.
way out. That
That's
gives you a
weakness.
way out because
Yeah.
there's going to be a time in that fight where you don't want to be there anymore, and you can't have that exit. It has to be
No.
like, no, I gotta go.
My coach used to talk to me like that. And he's
Yeah.
like, I could talk to you like a child, or I could talk to you like a winner. And I'm going to talk to you like a winner. And I'm going to talk to you like I talk to my pros. You better fucking win this. There's
Yep.
no do your best. You have to win this. And when you hear that in your mind, it actually excels you to do your best.
Yes.
There is no, if you can't win that fight with everything that you effort, like all your effort, then you really didn't deserve to win.
Yeah.
And you were not the better fighter. But like you said, there's gonna be that moment where you're gonna want to just give up. It's like painful, you're tired, your body hurts, everything is like just downhill.
And you want to let off the gas a little bit. Yeah. You can't.
And
do
that's
it.
that voice in my head to this day is like, nah, you have to win this. And I remember it just working for me and Anybody else that I've coached, I talk to them like that. I expect every
Right.
single one of you to freaking win, and that's the only damn option. That's the
Right.
only
And
option, right?
and when you feel that loss, when you feel that feeling of loss, and I lost in 2019. I think it was a bad decision, but whatever. I lost the fucking fight. Okay, and I haven't lost since because I
I
don't
know.
ever want
And
to
you got
feel
that
that shit
rematch.
again.
That
I
was
got the rematch, and she ran from it.
yeah.
So she knew.
Came with the
She
hot
knew.
hot
But
sauce.
that feeling of loss I can't. It's the worst feeling in the world. And that's the fire I have in me for this fight, because I feel like last fight I was just flat and shit, and I'm just like, I need it. Like someone told me, they're like, I think I was on a podcast or something. Oh yeah, I was on a podcast, and this guy's like, I think you needed that loss, and I was like, fuck, dude, because that fury, that
Wakes up
fire,
the fire.
oh, dude, it
Now you got to
just
prove it to yourself that's not you. Fuck the
yeah,
audience. You got to do it for
yep,
yourself.
yeah,
Right?
and
When
that
when
shit
is your
didn't feel
next
good.
fight? Tell us about your next. When is your next? What? Tell the
And
audience here.
still,
What do we have to look forward to?
December 21st, I'll be 6-time world champion. I'll be fighting in Hollywood, Florida, against a Cuban, and in her hometown. So I already know I got to knock her out. They probably, I don't, if that's your city, you come to Vegas. I know the commission. They know me. They know me since I've grown up. I know she has big sponsors over there that have money, and I already know the politics behind this shit. And I gotta knock this girl out. And I'm coming in there doing my thing. I'm not gonna give up anything right now, but it's gonna be something she's not gonna expect, or the team isn't prepared for it. I'm just gonna tell you that much. So December 21st, it's going to be a dope fight. Tune in. Go to my Instagram. I'm posting all the time about. I'm at Christine Ferea on my Instagram, and same thing as my Facebook. But my training coming up, and what I'm doing to prepare. But I'm here to set. I want to be the most defenses ever in bare knuckle. So I'm gonna go as long as my little body can handle, and try and get as many defenses as I can, and hopefully be champ. I do want to move up to 135 at some point. I did
Be a
call out Chris.
two
I,
division champ.
I do, because if I don't cut weight, I bet you I'll be sleeping these girls, because I know I got more power than that. I'm cutting down to 125. I'm taking a lot of my power, and I hit way harder than I can hit than when I'm doing on fight night in my 125 division. It's just, when you get older, you're more dense. So,
Right.
And it's not even about losing the weight, because I can lose the weight. I get down to 125. That's fine. It hurts. Yeah, all weight cut hurts, but I'm depleting myself, and my power is not there.
Right.
It's okay, but it's like at
When you get older
135.
too, it's harder to recover from those cuts. You don't
Yeah.
bounce back as fast.
Yeah. So
Well, this has been an awesome interview. I was excited,
absolutely.
and it delivered.
Me too. I
You
love this
always
podcast.
deliver
You
the
guys are
real
dope.
shit, Christine. And we are looking forward to seeing you at the U.S. Open. She
Yes,
is
I'll
going
be
to
there.
be in town for the U.S. Open, and you can come meet and greet. She'll be sitting there. We got the VIP couches for her, and she'll be sitting. So if you got a VIP room, you will get a VIP pass for you to actually sit and shoot the
Let's
shit
do
with
it.
the one and only. We have a couple people coming through. Byron Brown was one of those people that were actually gonna do a undercard bare knuckle boxing bout. So I'm gonna put you guys together. He's like
Dope.
he's a cool dude. But
And the
we're looking
BKFC
forward.
the BKFC female matchmaker will be there as well.
That's right. And
Yeah.
she's gonna be watching all the athletes competing.
Yeah.
And scoping out the talent. There are
Yep.
pros in that divisions as well. There's a pro division. So
Well,
you
there's
guys.
an amateur. Also, there's an amateur BKFC.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
yeah. So, but they wear the MMA gloves, but it gets you ready for the rules
Right.
and the setting of bare knuckle, and you get the feel. It's a pretty big show. Nelson puts it on. It's a pretty dope show. It's pretty big.
I love it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to that. Actually, I want to see what that looks like. Again, Christina, thank you. Or Christine, thank you for your time and your realness. This has been like awesome,
Absolutely.
and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely. I'll see you next week, man.
All right, take care.
All right.